And the story here is that a few weeks before Lincoln was shot in Ford's Theater, Abraham and Mary Lincoln had gone down to City Point, Virginia, where Grant had his headquarters. And Mary Lincoln was not only depressed, they'd lost his son during the war, but her behavior is increasingly erratic. So she's a highly disturbed person. She throws a temper tantrum at Julia Grant. And so the night that the Lincolns went to Ford Theater, Lincoln said to Grant in the White House that day, he said, you and your wife should come to Ford's Theater because the public, because this was 5 days after Lee surrendered at Appomattox, and so Lincoln says to Grant, you should come with us to Ford's Theater. The public wants to see the victorious president and the victorious general together. But Julia...
Just like we call home and they said, no way.
Yeah, exactly. And Julia said, make up an excuse. So the Grants decided that they were going to go to that house in Burlington, New Jersey. And it is one of the great, what ifs. If Grant had been sitting there in the box, number one, he might have, been...
And he was targeted. He was explicit.
He was targeted. Yeah, I tell the story in the book that while Ulysses was at the White House speaking to Lincoln, Julia was having lunch around the corner at the Willard Hotel, and there was a man across the dining room with pale skin and dark hair who kind of was eyeing her in this menacing way and toying with his soup spoon and made her feel very uncomfortable. And then later in the afternoon, the Grants are going to Burlington, New Jersey, so they're riding in a carriage to the train station, and that same man with the pale skin and the dark hair is now on horseback, keeps galloping by the carriage, circling around, glaring in at them in a way that Ulysses feels very uncomfortable. And then the next day, when Grant first set eyes on a photo of John Wilkes Booth, he realized that that horseman who had been menacing them was Booth, so that Grant was being stalked the way that Lincoln was stalked, and Grant just luckily got out of town because of this feud that had happened between the two wives. It's an amazing story.